Okay, so you're feeling tired all the time. You feel like you're dragging and that you don't have energy that you used to have. We need to fix that because you have a lot more life to live and you don't want to spend it on the couch, let's be honest. And have you ever wondered why you're so tired all the time, even when you feel like you got a good amount of sleep? Well, what if I told you that the real problem is not so much with the sleep routine, but it's something much deeper, something that we never faced as humans before? By the end, you'll discover why this modern day life is draining us, and I'll share with you simple fixes that you can implement starting today to get your energy back so you don't feel like you're dragging ass all the time, and then you have the energy to actually live outside of your couch. Because again, life is to be lived, and we ended up being boxed in, scrolling on our phones too much. We want to be out there creating memories, having energy to play with our children, grandchildren, to go out there and do things, and to be in the mood to do so. So let's get into it. Let's go back a few thousand years. Humans that lived at the time had a few simpler decisions to make. Their whole existence really revolved around survival. And they had a lot of things under routine. In a village, in a tribe, people knew who went to get water and when. People knew who's cooking, who's making food. People knew who's going hunting and when. Things were done very routinely. Occasionally, they would find a new tool that they would improve to help them prepare for food or hunt, but that's about it. Pretty simple, huh? Now, let's go back just about 100 years from today. Once again, the word is simple. There were no smartphones, there were no emails. Once again, there were fewer decisions to be made, especially at the time of agriculture when people once again had farms and then they did things seasonally. They knew exactly when the spring comes what to do, when the winter comes what to do, and so on. And people who worked in factories, it's the same thing. They didn't really have that many decisions to make. People worked, they ate, and they repeated. And there was a lot of free time. Now, compared to today, we have thousands of decisions to make before we even leave the house. What should I wear today? What should I eat for breakfast? Should I eat breakfast? What's gonna be for lunch? Should I prepare lunch or should I buy it? If I buy it, which place should I go to? Then you have to prioritize those decisions. Lunch is not as important as making a huge decision at work or remembering doctor's appointment for your kids. And so you have to prioritize your decisions. You have to make your brain work to make those decisions. And then you have to be okay with those decisions and hope that everything's going to go as planned, which it never does, in which case you have to make new decisions. And each decision is making you more and more tired. All of this mental clutter is exhausting. Now, why did we go back to how humans lived? Because that's going to show us how our brain has evolved. Our brain is focused on saving and conserving the energy and on survival, which means it's focused on the negative. Hey, what if something bad happens? Hey, what if there's a lion out there that's going to jump at me? And that is how our modern brain still thinks, because we're always thinking in what if something bad happens, and we have to prepare for that, especially if we're on fight or flight, which we are in because of all these decisions that we have to make that our brain doesn't want to make. And you don't think much of these decisions, right? Like deciding what to wear and what to eat, they're not big decisions, right? Wrong. It's still exhausting your brain. This is why you want to set up habits wherever you can. And this is why when a habit gets disrupted, we get frustrated. See, every time things don't go according to our plan, according to our perfectly executed habit, we do have frustration coming up at us because the brain doesn't like that. So humans for thousands of years, up until maybe about 100 or 200 years ago, had very few decisions to make. And even the decision making has gradually and slowly increased. But in the last 50 to 80 years, it has drastically jumped up. Not to mention the amount of social media and the amount of information and messages that we have around us that are constantly stimulating and bombarding our brain. For example, did you know that in today's society, studies have shown that humans make 33,000 to 35,000 decisions per day? per day. And then we wonder why we're feeling so tired. And did you know that your brain is only about 2% of your whole body mass, yet it uses about 20% of energy and calories to function? This is why it wants to conserve the energy whenever it can. And this is why it sends you signals of annoyance so that you go back to the habit, so that the brain can go back to conserving the energy. But how do we do this, right? When we are bombarded with this amount of information, we have the blue light coming at us at our screens, and we have constant stimulation. Blue light, LED light, all of that confuses your brain to think that that's from the sun, because again, for thousands of years, the only light that we had was natural light. Then we had the fire, then we had candles, and then we had the light that still didn't disrupt our body and our brain. Now, this LED light confuses our brain because it thinks it's daylight, so it does not send the signal when to produce melatonin when you need to go to sleep. This overload was never a part of our biology. Now, decision making is not the only problem we're facing. Another thing to address is that up to about 100 years ago, we ate nutrient-dense foods. Even the soil was mineral and vitamin dense, so that when we gathered fruits and vegetables from it, it was packed with vitamins and minerals and everything that we need to heal and function properly. Nowadays, we're dealing with nutrient depleted soils and a lot of processed foods that leave our bodies craving for what they need to function optimally. And we haven't even touched on the endocrine disruptors that are in shampoos, conditioners, soaps, lotions, laundry detergents, cleaning supplies. They're everywhere around us, and they screw up our natural functioning of the body. They screw up our hormones, and our body has to function basically out of whack. To illustrate this, what if you bought a car that works perfectly fine, but you open up the hood and randomly took a few things out, maybe even loosened up some tires? Would you expect it to run safely and smoothly? Of course not. But that's what our body is going through. And we're like, oh my God, I have no energy. Why I feel this crappy? And sleep? Let's just say it was a lot simpler when there were no glowing screens to disrupt our natural circadian rhythms. Not to mention that life is tough for us natural night owls, huh? It's like, why do we have to start everything at 8 a.m.? Why not 11? You feel me? Drop me a little owl emoji in the comments if you're like me. Okay, back to the story. Fast forward to today. Despite all the advancements and memory foam mattresses and pillows and massages and spas and these things that we have that are supposed to make our functioning better, we've never felt more tired as a society. Even young people in their 20s are running on nearly empty. Again, it's a shocker, really. When we think about all the things that humans need, spending time in nature, being barefoot or touching the nature, sleeping well, having only natural light from the sun and no LED lights, no busyness that's a norm, and a lot of free time to be bored, having proper nutrients filled with vitamins and minerals that are good for our body, and not being bombarded with negative news that are coming from all over the place. It's really a mystery why we feel so crappy, isn't it? Another thing besides our circadian rhythm is our cycles. A menstrual cycle is supposed to be 28 days. Within those 28 days, each week is different. And because of that different hormonal mix, we feel differently. We even think differently. Some weeks are more about connection. Some weeks are more about go, go, go and get things done. Some weeks are high in strength and some weeks are low in strength. This is where we need to really learn about our bodies and how to set up our life the best we can to function according to our menstrual cycle and circadian rhythm. When hormones are out of balance due to stress, lack of sleep, lack of nutrients, and all the other things we talked about, this creates a havoc in our energy level. Estrogen, cortisol, thyroid, adrenals, all of these play a crucial role when it comes to our energy levels. And this is why we have to start changing things so that we have better energy, we feel better, and we'll live an energy-filled life. So let's fix these, shall we? Here are a few tips that you can start implementing right away. One, you have to get a blue light filter on your phone. Even if your phone has that setting, get an additional app that's going to help you with that. Get an app that blocks social media apps if you tend to spend too much time on social media. You also want to have the light adjustment in the room so that when you walk into a darker room, your phone gets darker. All of this is under settings on your phone, and you can play around with it and set it up. And if you don't, grab a 15-year-old and they'll do it for you. Two, get a really good supplement. Now, I already mentioned how much we're lacking nutrients in our nutrition, and obviously the supplement industry has taken over, and because they are not regulated, we have to really look for high quality supplements. I personally found a couple of companies that work really well for me. I've tested them. I love their ingredients, and I feel completely different when they're on them. I use different supplements from them, and I switch them up every once in a while. Currently, I'm using a sleep supplement. I'm using a nootropic, which is for the brain. I'm using fish oil and a thyroid support supplement. I'll leave the links in the description in case you want to check them out and see if they're the right choice for you. But please do yourself a favor and don't just go to Walmart to buy supplements, because even the same company can produce two separate products for Walmart and for a vitamin shop or something. Tip number 3 is incorporate a nap into your daily routine. Now, don't stone me. A lot of people will be like, I cannot. A nap does not need to be more than 20 to 30 minutes. You can take literally a 10-minute nap. And we need to erase this thing from society that tells us that if you're napping, you're lazy. Again, this is if you can. You probably cannot nap at your work if that's where you are at the time. But what if you get home and nap for 10 minutes? Just think about if it's possible for you to incorporate a nap. Because again, if you look how humans lived for thousands of years, you can still look at many cultures around the world. It is very normal and natural for them to take a siesta. 4, change your light bulbs. Get away from LED light, at least at home. Sometimes they're unavoidable. A lot of stores have LED lights. Nowadays, a lot of cars have LED lights, but at least you can control it in your house, especially in your bedroom. Because if you can avoid LED light late at night, you can reset the production of melatonin in your brain, especially if you can add being out in the sun in the morning when it's coming out. Now, I'm a night owl. I'll be the first to admit I don't get to catch the sun early in the morning, but I do like to step outside throughout the day and get some sun rays on my skin. Tip number 5, create your little wind down routine that works for you. This does not have to be strictly scheduled routine that you're going to go through, and you're going to shift it over time because you're going to find what works, what doesn't work, and over time, you're going to create a perfect routine for you. Before you go to bed, what can you do? Maybe you can read without the LED light. Maybe you can watch something funny. Maybe you can just make some tea, sit in silence, and take a moment to just be. Tip number 6, change your schedule. We get in our routines, which again, our brain loves, not really questioning if this is the best routine for me. But once it's a routine, remember, your brain is not going to want to change it. So you will feel a little bit antsy, a little bit irritated if you're starting to change your routine. But go ahead and look into your schedule. Maybe you can change things around at night. Maybe you can change things around to take that nap. Maybe you can change your morning routine. And I know a lot of people will say, I just can't. I'm as busy as it gets. I'm going to challenge you here. Ask yourself, what would my perfect morning look like? What would my perfect evening look like? What do I need that can give me more peace? And it doesn't have to be a whole night off in peace and quiet. It can literally be taking 5 minutes to, again, just be. And I'm not saying that you are or you're not able to change things up right now. All I'm saying is start looking as to where you can make a small shift to work for you long term. Tip number 7, and this is probably the one you didn't expect, take cold showers in the morning and or take hot showers before bed. Now you hear all about cold showers and the benefits of them, but there is a huge benefit to hot shower. In Japan, actually, this is a tradition for the whole family to get into a tub of hot water and spend 15 to 20 minutes in there as a family It's like a steam room, hot room. Their skin even gets red, and they believe that this helps them detoxify and get better sleep, which I know it helps me because I love hot showers. Now, we all know the benefits of cold shower, and we know that it sounds very intense, but maybe just try it for a week. If it's not cold outside, for example, come fall and winter, I don't do cold showers because it takes me so long to warm up. But come spring and summer, I love them. They energize me. I could go on and on about the tips, but you already got plenty to play around with. Pick one. You need just one tip to start with and start implementing it today. Leave me a comment below so I hold you accountable as to which one you're going to start with. And make sure to subscribe because I'm going to be talking about those hot showers and the benefits of them soon. Stay tuned.